What's up, everybody? Today on Make It Cozy, we're gonna break down this chicken with our new honesuki. Let's check it out. All right, we're gonna bust out the honesuki for the maiden voyage. And I purposely didn't do anything with this knife after building it for the purposes of this video, so this is indeed the first time. Now, in order to minimize the spread of contamination, when you're working with raw chicken, you have to be really careful in the kitchen, especially if you're trying to save money to butcher one yourself. So I'm working solo, and I'm gonna fold down the side so that any nasty bits will stay on the inside of the bag. And then that way it just helps working by yourself. So with the chicken itself, there is a lot of internal roadmap that will help you butcher your chicken. So let's go ahead and start with the wings. It's the easiest part to take off, and it's really simple. All you want to do is just score the skin, and there's a joint right in between the drummy and the wing itself. So all you need to do is just kind of snap that back and then let the knife do the work right in between the two joints. So I'll show you again here. Score the skin, snap it, come from the back side, and then just penetrate that bone like right in between the drummy and the wing. Now the gallon bag that I showed you that's on the right of the screen here, I'm using for all my chicken pieces that I'm going to save to eat. I have a quart bag that I'm saving all the innards that usually come inside the carcass. But also I want to save these wing tips, all the extra stuff. I don't personally throw them away. I keep them for making stock. So the wingtip is going to go in the stock bag, which is just the quart bag you see right here with the gizzards and whatnot, the neck stuff. And then the wing itself I'm going to save in the gallon bag. So the oyster, working on the leg quarter, you don't want to neglect the oyster. It's probably the most delicious part aside from, in my opinion, the tail. The tail is so good when it's like roasted. It's my second favorite piece of the bird. But the oyster, it kind of like sits in this divot that you can just kind of use your knife and then just kind of score around it. So the way that I start with the quarter is there's this big flappy piece of skin. And then right here, that's that roadmap that I'm talking about. And you're going to see this throughout the video, that the chicken just kind of tells you where to go. So with this excess skin, oh my gosh, you just kind of want to, get yourself handy right here. And then you're going to, again, just let your knife do the work. Now, there's the joint in between the thigh bone and the actual chicken itself that you're going to have to be careful with. And then you also, again, don't neglect that oyster because it's like super yummy. There's a little divot that it sits inside of the backbone right here. So I'm just going to kind of go around that. Again, using that sharp tip of the honesuki. That's the whole point of this, right? So like, that's why I wanted to show you this whole process here, especially with homemade knife. I mean, what's not to like about that? You know what I mean? So here's that joint that I'm talking about, and you can kind of see where the fat line, again, is just kind of directing you where it's at. So with your non-cutting hand, I'm just trying to find where that joint is. That way I can, again, go around the oyster itself, and then boom, just snap right in between those joints, just like we did with the wing, except right now you have the leg quarter. Now, I am an amateur. People are probably yelling at the screen right here. I left a lot of meat on the backbone right there, and that's, in my opinion, that's fine, because I'm not going to waste that meat, right, to make stock. So I'm okay with it. And again, it's just for practice. So, home cooks, like, don't be intimidated. If you make mistakes, hey, it's still going to be yummy. You're not wasting anything, right? So just to show you again, on the other side, excess skin, get that oyster, go around the back right here, the little divot that it sits inside. And then you want to find the joint between the leg quarter of the thigh and the actual backbone itself. Snap that bad boy, let your knife do the work, and then just kind of follow that all the way down the back so that you try to keep as much meat on that thigh as you can. There we go. I did a little bit of a better job that way. I got a lot of meat on that thigh, and now we're ready to rock. So you can keep this as a leg quarter. If you're making pozole, you're making just, hey, leg quarters for whatever reason, for barbecue or whatever. But yeah, so you can kind of see the difference here between those pieces of the back where I left a little bit of the meat. But again, I'm not worried about it. It's not going to keep me up at night.
Your bird quit. And unfortunately, it's no longer legit.
If you want to separate the leg from the thigh, if you look right here, yeah. What do you think about that? Roadmap, right? You see that fat line right there. It's just telling you exactly where to go. So that's what's kind of nice about, starting with chickens. And then, like, if you need to butcher a turkey or a duck, at least you'll have the experience with poultry. So again, there's a joint in between the leg and the thigh. You just find that, using the fat as a direction, and then you just let the knife do the work. It shouldn't be difficult. There is a lot of excess cartilage here compared to the other two pieces that we did. So sometimes you'll find that, like, maybe you cut through the cartilage, and if your knife is sharp enough, it's not going to be a big deal. So there's your thigh. Sometimes you find them at the store just like this. Sometimes you find them boneless, skinless. If that's the direction that you're going in, if you look right here, once again, just to beat a dead horse, right? There's the bone and there's your score line, right? So again, with that sharp tip of the honesuki, this really comes in handy because you can take that initial score across the bone, like laterally with the bone, as you see here, whoop, and then you can just kind of remove the skin by scraping the knife against the bone and letting that sharp tip do the work for you. So that way what you inevitably want to do is get the tip of your knife down underneath the bone and then just start cutting the skin from underneath. You can kind of create like a little loop. And then that way you can get the knife under there, taking as much of the meat off as you can and not leaving it on the bone. There is cartilage on both sides of the bone itself, and you want to try to use that loop like you see here to try to work your knife underneath so that way, again, you're just leaving as much meat for your thigh as you can. And if you make a mistake, that's fine because you can just come through and you can take the cartilage, the excess cartilage off, and then again, just throw it in your stock bag. You're going to see here in a second after I finish monkeying around with this piece that I can get most of the meat. That top section here, there's a lot of cartilage, and it doesn't make for a good dish if you leave it on. You'll find out. I've done it before, and it's just one of those things that happens. But again, we're all trying to learn. You can't punish yourself for trying to get better, right? So there's the leg, the thigh bone going in the stock bag. There's meat on it. There's meat on the cartilage. That's still good. So again, I highly encourage you not to throw that away. So you see here, there's a little piece of cartilage that I left on there. I'm just going to go ahead and knock that out. And depending on what you're doing with the thigh, like I really love to do barbecue thighs. And so like, just like with, say a brisket or ribs, if there's like little tiny pieces that, that may burn, I mean, you're not going to barbecue the bird for too long, but just kind of knock those off. And then here, there's this little pocket of intramuscular fat that I personally despise. And so like, when you go out and like you find that pocket, even though like it might be rendered, unless you're like doing it low and slow, it's probably not rendered enough. So I personally like to take it out. There's like some vein fat here that just kind of can be taken off. That's just personal preference. But really that intramuscular fat narble that's in the center, I personally want and have to take it out because I find it very unpleasant when it's not fully rendered. So if you're looking here, there's like, you can kind of see where it kind of pokes its head out, so to speak. That's the piece there, and it's just kind of like the tip of the iceberg. So whenever you gently score the knife through the meat, through the muscle right here, and then you can just kind of peel it away because there's like this little layer that just kind of flaps out, and you can just kind of open it like a book, so to speak, right? And then once you get here, you can see, oh, look at that. Yeah, that's it right there, baby. So like, I want to take that out 100%. Don't leave it in. And so I'm just going to run my knife underneath, and you can just kind of like, for lack of a better phrase, like peel it out. It kind of like, once you start scoring it and get that first layer of connective tissue away from it, then you can just pop it right off. And then if you want to save it for stock, fine. I'm going to do it, but you can just also just throw it away or just use it for like schmaltz or something. It'll render to a degree, but that's something else that you can probably consider as well is, for your skin. If you don't want to put skin in your stock bag because it's like extra fatty, you can still render it for like schmaltz, or you can make like little crackling, so to speak, with the chicken skin, which I highly recommend because it's delicious. And there we go. We got our thigh, right? We got the skin still on there for extra moisture if you want to keep it. And that's pretty much it for this guy. So that's your leg quarter in a nutshell. So let's go ahead and move on to the breast and the keel bone and the back, right? So like there's a little bit of extra whoop that I'm just going to knock right off of the tip there. If you want to keep the skin on, fine. I'm going to keep them on for the most part. But what we want to deal with first is the wishbone. If you stick your thumb up in the hole right there, you can start feeling it, and you'll feel that really thin wishbone. And I personally like to keep it because my kiddo and I love to do the wishbone. So I'm going to kind of try to peel that away with the tip of the knife as much as I can, just removing as much of the meat and taking out that wishbone. Now, one other thing is that, you can see that there is, again, your roadmap in the fat to try to work your knife tip around the bone itself. But if you're not trying to butcher the whole chicken into like an 8-piece chicken parts, then this is still very handy in order for you to spatchcock your chicken. So let's say you're taking your shears and you run the shears up the back, you remove the backbone. You still want to remove the wishbone because it'll help you snap that keel bone whenever you go to spatchcock the bird as a whole. And then you can throw it on the grill, or you can throw it in the oven or whatever. So I still highly encourage this, regardless of which direction you may take, for your home butchery needs, for those of you playing the home game. So it takes a little bit of finesse. This one is, I'm trying to take my time just to make sure that I get it right on camera for you all to see, like, hey, you have the top part and the two prongs coming down that are still connected, but you still need to run the tip of your knife down to score all the meat off. But whenever you do so, it gets progressively easier. It's just like, once you start, it's like going to the gym. Once you start, that's the hardest part. Once you're there, you're like, okay, I can feel this, and you can just kind of work yourself around. But you want to be careful with your fingers, obviously. You don't want to slice yourself. And that's when taking your time, going slow, and make sure that you get everything properly removed. And there you go. All right, now we can work on the bird itself. And if you look right here, again, boom, what do you think? Yeah, roadmap for sure, right? So you just kind of work your way around that line of fat right here, and then you just want to try to remove as much of the back from the breast itself. Now, granted, you're going to leave a little bit of that keel and some of the rib pieces, but we're going to deal with those later on. So the real big thing is to score yourself around the breast and the drumette that you left earlier, and then just kind of work your way up to where it meets the neck. And then you can kind of I'm using the tip of my knife mostly that you see here, and you can kind of feel yourself around where like where the back meets the drumette. And again, just try to find that line and let the knife do the work. You shouldn't be fighting against it too much, but in this part, as you can see, like, I'm just hacking away. And eventually I start using the thick part of the knife down towards the handle, which I should have been doing probably the whole time. There we go. Yeah, I kind of like working too aggressively, and I luckily have a sharp knife to where it took my fingernail off and not my finger skin. But anyways, I'm just working myself around here to try to get the back cut up into individual pieces just to make it easier, to stick in my stock bag, but also to fish out later. There's more surface area to extract all that yummy, delicious chickenness. And there's the tail. Definitely keeping that. That's a delicious piece. I love it, but, take it for what it is. All right, so now that we've removed that wishbone, you can just kind of score right here on the keel, and then you're going to just kind of snap the two sides of the breast, the left and right breast, away from each other like so. That makes it a little bit easier, and then you don't even need a knife for this part because that keel is mostly cartilage, so you can just run your finger and it'll start separating the breast from the keel bone. And again, taking that wishbone out helps this part dramatically. It's a little bit of work up front, but once you get into this part, you're not fighting against it. But you could also just leave this part whole if you want to. Again, you can just kind of like truss this and then just stick it in the oven or put it in the barbecue and do it low and slow. Excellent, But I have this one piece here, and this is an airline cut, so you can just leave this as is. I'm going to take off this part of the bone and the cartilage here just to show you. You just kind of score, again, just keeping as much of the meat from the breast and also the tenderloin intact. And then you can just kind of work your knife underneath and just let the knife do the work. You can, again, sort of similar to how we debone the thigh, just get a little pocket that you can work the knife through and then just zip right through it. And it shouldn't be that hard. You shouldn't be fighting against this. Boom. Put that in the stock bag for later. Snap it in half just for ease, whatever. But then now we have this airline cut, and it's skinless, so, hey, it is what it is. But you can leave it skin on, or you can leave the bones. The bones are probably just, if you're going low and slow in the oven or in the barbecue, then, that's what's up. But if you wanted to remove the drumette, again, you just snap it, and that part, since you took out that other piece of the rib and cartilage from the center, it should be easier just to get it out, and then you can just kind of clean it up as is. Again, personal preference, but if there's any kind of veins or cartilage that's left over, make sure that you take those out. The little veiny bits like that right there, it kind of makes for bad presentation, but again, if you don't care about that, then leave it, and it doesn't really matter. And then this thing looks really wet, so I'm going to try to dry and clean up my station, but if you're freezing it, then, so be it. You can cut this piece. I've seen people where they take the breast and cut it in half, like I showed there, but I personally don't like doing that. I like having a big full breast. You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't? So as long as you cook it the correct way. So working the rest of the keel off of the other breast takes a little bit of finesse as well. But again, keep your knife sharp. The honesuki definitely helps, or whatever kitchen knife you have. So then you can kind of work your way around the cartilage. But you want to be careful because sharp knife, softer cartilage compared to bone, it'll kind of make this a little bit difficult to where you can kind of see there's like a sliver coming out next to where my left hand index finger. But even still, it's still connected. So I managed to get that off. But you can probably have some difficulty trying to get that guy off. And then there we go. Just kind of clean up the edges here. I got the drumette off, and I'm going to keep the skin on this guy. But there you go. There's the other breast. And now you have your full bird.
Booyah, it's over.
Let's go ahead and refocus on what we got here. So, see, this is why I do the fold over technique, because my hands are clean now. But what I want to do is just kind of pinch. Ooh. Come on, baby, get back in there. You're ruining my, whoop, my gusto. There we go, see? You can still work it in. It's less than ideal, but you know what? Hey, these things happen to us home cooks, you know what I'm saying? So that's what's up. Now you have like a whole carcass, right? You can make some delicious homemade chicken stock. And if you haven't seen my other video about how to make homemade stock and saving your scraps, you should definitely check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. Again, with the chicken itself, we got this bad boy right here. So easy peasy. Try to get some of that air out, you know what I'm saying? There we go. And then, boom. One whole chicken. You can like save this for the barbecue or whatever, or you can just freeze it for later. You know, it's up to you. Clunk. That's what's up. Let's get rid of this. So I'm going to end the video right here, and hopefully you learned something. It's not that bad cutting up your own bird, getting your own pieces, parts, whatever. So like, I mean, even looking at it, where I'm at, getting a whole bird is like $2 a pound. And then if you compare that to, say, like the wings or the boneless, skinless thighs, you're looking at least $3 to $4 a pound. And if you're going organic, tack on like two and a half extra bucks on that. So take that for what it's worth. I hope you learned something on this one, and I hope that you appreciate that I'm an amateur, right? So like, I'm just trying to help you out. Also, the acoustics in my kitchen, not great. But that being said, we'll see you on the next one. Peace. Here's some bloopers. We're gonna use the honesuki. Wait, honesuki. Is it honesuki? I think it's honesuki. Honesuki? Honesuki. Hey, we're gonna use our honesuki. We're gonna use our honesuki. Wait, that's a different show. The honesuki. Cut. Can we cut that? Can we cut that? Shut up, fridge. It's like a creaky cave.
Shake your tail feather.